Hello and welcome to your Strive Scan session. We're going to give everybody a couple of seconds or a minute, like a minute or so to get everybody in here and set. Okay, so I will go ahead, a few housekeeping notes for today. There are more of these sessions that have been available to you, either to check out live and or go back and check out recordings, because the recordings have all been made available at strivescan.com/Virginia. So you can either use that same site to sign up for additional sessions to view, or you can view past recordings if there was something on there that you were interested in that you missed, so that you can always check out some other ones that are going on. As a note, you are in a webinar mode, not meeting mode. So your camera and microphone are off. The presenters cannot see or hear you. Consequently, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to have voice, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. But they do also have some time set aside at the end of their presentation for them. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thank you so much. We'll get set up here in just a second. Wonderful. Well, first, we'd like to thank you all for taking a little time today to join us and hear a little bit more about Jesuit education, see a few samples, a cross-section, if you will, of what we have to offer you as you consider your options for where you're headed for the next step in your educational journey. In case you're not already aware, the Jesuits are an order of Catholic priests. They were founded almost 500 years ago by the man more commonly known as Ignatius of Loyola, or San Ignacio. He and his companions founded the Jesuits with a mission of service to others. This has taken form in education and a commitment to social justice. They founded their first university at Messina in Sicily in 1548. Jesuit education in the US isn't quite that old, but it is not new either. John Carroll founded Georgetown University in 1789, and since then, our network has grown, currently standing at the 27 colleges that you see there on the map. Our locations range from the College of the Holy Cross and Boston College up in Massachusetts, to Spring Hill College in Alabama, to Seattle University and Gonzaga University in Washington State. There are also 4 schools named for the original founder, Loyola. You'll find one in the East, one in the West, one in the North, and one in the South. Over this presentation, we will weave some of the pillars of Jesuit education into how we do things at our specific schools, but just a little bit more before we move on. If you've heard of the Jesuits before, you may already know that we're usually small to medium-sized schools, often located in metropolitan or urban areas, with lots of student activities, and possibly already know of our students' commitment to service. This is usually done on the undergraduate level, but a lot carries over past graduation and into your life's work, sometimes through such organizations as the Jesuit Volunteer Corps and the Ignatian Solidarity Network. Maybe the first time you heard about a Jesuit school, you didn't even know it because it was thanks to our success on the basketball court. But I promise it was probably not the last time that you heard about any of us. Jesuit schools have educated and graduated some very successful, some very famous, and even some infamous people over history and around the world. Jesuit education goes beyond each school's imprint on its students, as our alumni go on to become part of a network of more than 1 million here in the United States. Now, switching gears a little, I promised you that we'd get into a sampling of our schools and what we offer as Jesuit schools on the US educational landscape. And since I'm already here, I'm going to just keep going. I'm used to being last in the alphabet, but I put myself first on this one. My name is Erin Melody, and I'm the Regional Recruitment Director for the Mid-Atlantic at Xavier University. We are named actually after one of Ignatius's companions, St. Francis Xavier. If you're not already familiar, we are located in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our 190-acre park-like campus is located within the city limits, approximately a 10-minute drive from the heart of downtown. Xavier is home to about 5,000 full-time undergraduates. We're a medium-sized institution, but with a very personalized feel. We have a 12-to-1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of about 21. Our 5,000 students choose from more than 90 majors and programs across 4 undergraduate colleges. Our College of Arts and Science, the original school, the Williams College of Business, which is AACSB accredited, our School of Professional Sciences, which is also home to our education and sports studies programs, and our School of Nursing, which is direct entry and is housed in the newest building, our crown jewel on campus, the Health United building, more affectionately known as the Hub. A favorite stat of mine I'd like you to note, Xavier has a 98% success rate within 6 months of graduation. 98% of our students are either employed or enrolled full-time in graduate school following graduation within about 6 months. How do we achieve this success? It is our students utilizing the supportive campus community that surrounds them on campus and taking advantage of Cincinnati's resources academically, for example, in research opportunities, socially, culturally, and most definitely professionally through our internships and our career mentor program. A Xavier student is an engaged student, participating in a variety of activities that are steeped in the Jesuit tradition, as you can see on this slide. We offer study abroad at 75 different locations on 6 continents. We have 5 honors programs, 3 of which that are major specific, 2 that are overarching. We have wonderful community service opportunities, not only in Cincinnati, but include immersion trips, both domestically and internationally. And our students are very, very involved, as we have more than 170 different clubs and organizations. In the middle of campus, you'll find the Cintas Center, home of Xavier basketball, where student tickets are free and our extreme fans camp out for the best seats to the big games. Xavier is a true community. As our mascot, the Musketeer, good old D'Artagnan would say, all for one and one for all. Oops, sorry, I went too far there. Our application is free and we are on the Common App. We are a rolling decision school with a priority deadline of December 1. Our middle 50% for GPA is about a 3.3 to a 4.0, and that's on a weighted scale. But most importantly, the one thing I'd love for you to remember, especially in this year, we are test optional. And for 2021, that even includes our direct entry nursing program. We are open for visitors, but you can also check us out at xavier.edu. And as your admission and financial aid liaison, I look forward to working with you over the cycle ahead. At this point, we're going to take on a different sample and travel from Ohio to New York for Lemoyne.
Thanks very much, Erin. Great to be with our friends here in Virginia. And my name is Steve Knights, and I am a regional manager in the admissions office and work with students, parents, and counselors throughout the Middle Atlantic region. And Lemoyne is in Syracuse, New York, one of the 27 Jesuit colleges and universities. We're in a very nice suburban residential area with about 2,600 students, and we emphasize great opportunities for real life experiences throughout all of our majors. And with the next slide, I'm going to introduce to you one of the pillars of Jesuit education, and it's called magis. Magis is simply a Latin word meaning more or greater. In Jesuit terms, it's working for the greater good, a term that was first used by the Jesuits, and as Erin mentioned, by Ignatius Loyola in the 15th century. Today, it's a hallmark characteristic of Jesuit education, which is one of the largest networks of all colleges and universities around the world, with not only our 27 in the United States, but 190 worldwide. So when we talk about magis and Jesuit education, when we talk about more, we're referring to it as quality and not quantity more. We're considering more to be continuing to develop, learn, adapt, and improve with education. More also means striving for excellence as well as the greater good. More is the fullest possible development of each person's capabilities and willingness to continue this development throughout life, and the motivation to use this development and gifts for others in society. And more is, and Magis and more is preparing for lifetime learning with a special attention to values, ethical issues, and the development of more moral character. And as this slide shows, our Lemoyne graduate, Kaylee Gustafson, was a recent Lemoyne graduate. She's one example of doing more. She had identified her academic passion in the major of psychology. She continued to develop another part of her person in playing on the golf team at Lemoyne. And in doing more for others, she started an organization to raise awareness and funds to find a cure for a rare condition. What does Magis mean for college students in the 21st century? It's major related courses and experiences, such as ethics in professional areas like business, law, medicine, as well as cultural courses in social science and language. Magis is taking coursework in areas beyond your major to develop professional skills like writing, research, communications, and analysis. Magis is taking coursework in other areas of your personal interests, interests that you have now and interests that you will develop in the future. And considering and acting on how you will develop to benefit others, both individually and others in society. And with the next slide, I'll talk with you a little bit about Lemoyne College specifically, where greatness meets goodness. One without the other is simply not an option. We have over 40 different academic majors, and that's typically an area that students will start to look at Lemoyne to define areas in business, accounting, management, marketing, human resource management, in the sciences such as biology, chemistry, professional areas like nursing, as well as some direct entry programs in the health-related professions, including nursing, direct admit physician assistant program, and occupational therapy. Lemoyne is in an active college region where you're going to be able to explore your passions. It's in an area that many colleges and universities utilize Syracuse as the hub for their college life. Lemoyne has an outstanding reputation as being one of the best colleges in the country, a best value, and one of the highest returns on investment. And Lemoyne is meaningful success with retention, engagement, value added, and return on investment. And with the next slide, I'm going to talk with you a little bit about the Lemoyne Promise. The Lemoyne Promise is that every student who enrolls at Lemoyne will, as they continue with our advising process, will graduate in 4 years or less. You'll have an academic advisor who will meet with you even before your first semester and develop career advising in the classroom with personal appointments that will focus on your personal direction, with opportunities for real-world experience through all academic majors, which include internships, clinical experiences, student teaching, research, and others. Every student will have an alumni mentor who's involved with you, who has similar interests, and will offer you a job interview upon completion of Lemoyne. And finally, that Lemoyne Promise offers an additional, beyond their merit students accepted with merit scholarship, another $10,000 scholarship, which is $2,500 in each year for support of students to assist them with their funding and making Lemoyne a best value. And now we'll move on to Marquette University, which is one of the other Jesuit colleges and universities.
Hello, and thank you so much. My name is Eric Foley, and I am the admissions counselor for Marquette University. Before I get into information about Marquette, I first just wanted to talk about another Jesuit pillar, which is men and women for and with others. Men and women for and with others is really a mantra that you'll see on all campuses and something we want to instill in all of the students that come to a Jesuit institution. What that means in simpler terms is we want to build community. We want to and better help you understand who you are, what your place is in this community, and how you can be a really positive member. We want you to not just live for yourself, but to live for others and to look for ways for you to make that positive impact in the world. So at Jesuit schools all across the US, this shows up in a lot of ways. So first off, faculty members and staff really care about you and care solely about making sure that Jesuit community is instilling those values and making sure you're succeeding. The service opportunities that are available are really apparent at Jesuit institutions. Service is a big part of who we are and what we want to provide and the experience we want to give our students. And so service and being selfless is something that really permeates everything that we do. At Marquette, for example, we have international service trips tied to the medical field. We actually founded a program called Global Medical Brigades, which is now at many universities all across the US, where students are able to use their skills in the healthcare field to work in communities that need assistance. We also have an Engineering Without Borders international program tied to our campus ministry. We have service trips all across the world, all across the United States. And just in general, we want to give you the skills and abilities to use your privilege, your abilities, the fact that you're in a college to really go off of our campus and set the world on fire. We also have it integrated in our curriculum. So no matter what you study, you have the chance to participate in service learning as part of your class. So certain classes have a service component to them. But just in general, men and women for others is really a pillar to who the Jesuits are and to what Marquette is. You can go to the next slide. And what Marquette is a lot of things. Marquette is a city school. We're located right in the heart of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we're a medium-sized campus in that city. We have an undergraduate population of right around 8,000 students, which we feel puts us in a really nice position. We're large enough that we can offer over 80 majors, over 325 student organizations, and you get the great school spirit from our basketball team. You get all those opportunities and that experience that you find from those large institutions, but at the same time, we're small enough that you get attention that you deserve. We have an average class size of about 23. We really get to know you at a personal and deep level. That's something that Marquette really holds ourselves to, and we want to make sure that we're bringing students together from all different backgrounds and from all different areas as well to create a really diverse and unique campus experience. Right now, we have students from almost all 50 states, about 70 different countries, and they're all living on or near campus. 95% of our undergrads are living within walking distance. So you can go to the next slide. And as I mentioned, we're located right in the heart of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but at the same time, we still have this really nicely defined space that we can call our home. Downtown's within walking distance. You get a bus pass as a student that can get you around the city really easily. And Lake Michigan is only 1.5 miles away. So between us and the lake is a thriving economic area, very diverse, a lot of cultural opportunities with concerts and different festivals. It's a very thriving city. It's a fun city to live in for a student. And you have so many resources as a result. You're walking distance to Fortune 500 companies, hospitals, schools. But at the same time, you have this space that you can call your home. Marquette has a residency requirement the first 2 years. So the first 2 years, you're living directly in the heart of campus, right in the middle of the screen here. And on the right side, you'll see where our classes are held. That's our academic quad, our campus mall. So we have a really nice campus space with no cars or roads in that space where all of your classes are held. You can go from class to class, just walking past our beautiful churches and academic buildings and libraries. And then you cross the street to get back to the residence halls. And then you're just a quick walk away from concerts and sporting events and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's a great campus feel as a result. We have a very active student body. And then there are so many ways to extend your learning. About 3/4 of our students will have some sort of internship. About a third of our students will go abroad at some point. And we're really able to extend our learning all across the US and all across the world. You can go to the next slide. When it comes to our academics, this is something that the Jesuits do really well. The Jesuits, at their core, are educators. And Marquette is no exception. We were recently ranked by US News as the 18th best school in the nation for undergraduate teaching. And I think that goes back to being a school that really values being women or men for others. Our faculty members really care about who our students are and really care about their success. We have great job placement results and admission rates for graduate schools. And our direct entry model really makes sure you're getting started from day one. So you're getting on the ground and you're running right away. We have these 7 colleges on campus that are all direct entry, in addition to direct entry graduate programs in dental school, law school, physical therapy, and athletic training. But just in general, we have a great overall program. When it comes to our admissions process, our deadline is coming up on December 1st. So you have about a month to get your application in. But you are being admitted directly into a certain college, which is really setting you up for success. All students are automatically considered for merit scholarship just by being admitted. And there are a number of other scholarships and financial aid that Marquette provides. But just in general, Marquette, along with the other schools you see today, really ascribe to those Jesuit values that permeate everything that we do and everything we want to teach our students. And we have one last presentation from the University of San Francisco to talk about one more of those values.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for being on yet another Zoom. It's not lost on us that you've chosen to be with us today. My name is John Rice. I'm the Associate Director of Admission at the University of San Francisco. Greetings from the city by the Bay, although I should mention that I'm a native East Coaster. I grew up in Maryland, spent a lot of time in Virginia, and then made my way across the West Coast to the West Coast for college. So as you're thinking about your college search, I think, and you're looking at the network of 27 options that the Jesuits have, it's wonderful that there are so many places that you can look. And so I hope that you look at some of the schools locally to you on the East Coast, but that you also are willing to look at the Midwest, the South, and of course the West Coast as well. As far as the University of San Francisco goes and where we fall into the Jesuit network, similar to many of the Jesuit institutions, we are a medium-sized institution as well, with a little less than 7,000 students. And as you've seen from my colleagues, one of the hallmarks of a Jesuit education is a personalized approach. So you're finding a really traditional classroom where it's going to be discussion-based with an average class of about 22 students. As far as our institution, I think there are a couple of things that stand out about the University of San Francisco. And the most obvious thing might be on the next slide, which is the location. The University of San Francisco is the oldest university in the city. We were founded in 1855, and we're located on a 55-acre campus in the exact center of San Francisco, California. If you've never been to San Francisco before, I firmly believe it is one of the best cities in the world to go to college if you're looking for an urban experience, because it's a little bit weird. It's quite small, even though it often gets compared to cities like New York and LA. San Francisco is only 7 miles across, 7 miles from the left side of your screen, which is the Pacific Ocean, to the east side of your screen, which is the Bay Area, the Bay of the Bay Area. So it's a very easy to traverse city. Every student gets an unlimited public transit pass. So we're 20 minutes to downtown, we're 20 minutes to the beach. Makes it real easy to explore and take advantage of the city. The other reason I think San Francisco stands out as a city is the variety of industry represented here. So no matter what you want to study, whether that's business, whether that's the arts, whether that's politics or activism, no matter what you're interested in, you're going to find it in San Francisco at a world-class level. So the opportunity is to take your education from our traditional campus in the heart of the city and then expand it out to the rest of San Francisco and the San Francisco Bay Area is pretty incredible. There's some amazing options there. So I would say it may feel like 3,000 miles. That may seem like a long way, but remember, for most of you, it's just going to be 2 movies and a nap and you're there. If we can go to the next slide, please. Another part of USF and part of the Jesuit institutions is we care about you as a whole person. And I'm going to come back to this in a moment. Part of this is who you go to your institution with. I think all of us can look back at our time in high school or college for all of us on this presentation, and you may not remember every paper you wrote or every test you took. You probably remember who you hung out with and who your friends were and the people you met outside the classroom. So when you look at the University of San Francisco, you should know that we are the 4th most ethnically diverse college campus in the United States. We have no racial or ethnic majority. Our students are coming from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 98 countries. And as you can see, the idea really is that all identities are welcomed here. So no matter what identities you carry, you're going to find an inclusive environment at our institution. And that includes a variety of religious backgrounds as well. We're 28% Catholic, but I think sometimes folks assume that because we're Jesuit, you have to be a Catholic, and that's not the case. You can come from any faith background. We can go to the next slide, please. Of course, the most important aspect of your education and college is the educational experience itself. At the university, we offer about 70 different majors and minors for you. I think important to us is the approach of academics to action. So you're going to get an excellent college education no matter what program you choose at the University of San Francisco, but we're going to connect that with experience outside the classroom. We try to get every single student a minimum of 3 internships before they graduate. And ultimately, our students graduate with salaries in the top 3% of all college graduates nationwide. And again, I would have you think about the Bay Area and San Francisco. You name a company or an organization, they probably have an office here. So the opportunities our students get to take their academics from that discussion-based classroom and put it into action in the city around us is really unparalleled. And one really important thing for you all is you don't have to choose your major till the end of your sophomore year. So if you're like me and you had a lot of options you were thinking about, you're not locked in. The only programs you have to choose upon applying are engineering or nursing, because those take the full 4 years. You can go to the next slide, please. The last thing I'd like to touch on is one of the most important values of a Jesuit education, and that's this Latin phrase. Yes, we're pulling out Latin, I'm sorry. Cura personalis, and that means care for the whole person. And essentially at any Jesuit institution you look at, you're going to find that there is a focus on mind, body, and spirit receiving equal attention. And I like to sum this up really in the terms of balance. You are not a singular dimension. When you come to a Jesuit institution, we are going to see you as your whole self, because you're not coming as an empty brain. You're coming with all of your life experiences, with your family experiences, with your cultural background, and with your academic and non-academic interests. And we want all of those to grow and thrive at a Jesuit institution. So on campus, that might mean that if you're a business student, but you've always been a part of musical ensembles your entire life, you should keep taking part in music on our campus. It might be your spirituality, finding that connection you have to God or a higher power, and having that realized in your experience. But I think ultimately, coming from a California perspective, for us, a lot of it is really about finding that balance in and out of the classroom, realizing that college is not the end point for you. College is laying a foundation and a launching pad to set you up to do all the things you hope to do in the rest of your life. And so at a Jesuit institution, we're going to recognize your humanity and all of the things that you bring to our campuses, and all of the aspects of your life that you want to develop, not just academically, but emotionally, spiritually as well. So if you're looking for that place that's going to respect you as a full person, choosing one of these 27 Jesuit institutions can make a huge impact for you. And I would also add that reflects in our admission process. When we at the University of San Francisco or any of the colleges here today are looking at you in the admission process, we're looking at you as a whole person. You're not distilled down to a GPA or a test score. We're looking at the totality of your experiences and what you'll bring to our campuses. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Erin to wrap up with some Q&A.
Great, John. Thank you so much. So, normally at this time of year, the 4 of us and many of our friends would be literally riding around this country on a bus. We are usually brought together and we do joint Jesuit recruitment. It's one of the many times that the Jesuit network comes together. Our career services offices, as I mentioned on a slide earlier, are working in network with one another. Many of our different divisions across our institutions work together over the course of a year. But as Recruiters, as admission counselors, we travel in order to promote Jesuit education and talk to you more about it. And so if this is what your whistle, if this is something that you are still interested in and want to explore Jesuit education further, we're offering that this season virtually. Yeah, I know, another Zoom, I'm sorry. But we do have one more coming up on November 5th. The link information is there. We do invite you to join us. There are lots of short presentations, again, on our individual colleges. We do them by region. There are also a lot of workshops just on the application process in general. And then we also, each of our schools has a drop-in room. So 25 of the 27 Jesuit schools will be participating in that program on November 5th. So if one of the schools that you were thinking about was not represented today, but you know that you want to talk to them, they would be available then. So certainly we do encourage you to join us on November 5th for the last of the joint Jesuit programs for the fall. At this point, we'd like to open things up to questions. This is our contact information, so certainly you can put any questions into the Q&A function. We'd love to be able to answer them for you here live, or this, again, our contact information. And correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, but we are the readers, we are the counselors for the applicants that we are talking to, correct, in all these cases? Some of the panels I've been on, it's been a mix. So I always want to double check, but you are actually interacting right now with your admission counselors at our particular institutions. So we are who reviews your file. We are who are there to advocate for you. We are who are there to answer your questions about our institutions. So certainly, if you do have any questions at this point, please put them in the Q&A function. And as you guys are entering any questions you may have, Eric, you attended Marquette, correct?
Yes, I attended Marquette for graduate school.
For graduate school,
Yep.
Okay. So am I the only undergraduate from a Jesuit school?
Lots of graduate education here.
Lots of graduate education. You've got lots of great graduate degrees. Sometimes we get those who, as a matter of fact, on our staff, we have several who are not only graduate degrees, but undergraduate, and they went to Jesuit high schools. So as my mother would say, they drank the punch.
Well, Aaron, that puts more pressure onto you as a Jesuit college graduate than
Exactly. Well,
the other of us.
I am certainly one who has drank the punch. I have had the pleasure not only of attending a graduate school as an undergrad and a grad, but then I went on to work for not only my alma mater, but subsequently 4 more Jesuit schools across this country, and have certainly been a big proponent and a huge supporter of Jesuit education. So we want to make sure that if you are interested, you know that we are interested in each of you. You know, as we head into application season, and I know deadlines are around the corner, do we want to just go down the list? John, I'll start with you and just remind people of any application deadlines that are looming.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aaron. It's a good point for everyone. I know it's a lot to take advantage of, and what is time in a pandemic? So 2 deadlines at the University of San Francisco. Our first one's coming up this week. That's November 1st for our early action, early decision round. If that feels like that's too soon, no worries. We have a regular decision deadline of January 15th. So my advice for USF is pick which one that you feel comfortable with and you're ready to apply by. That's what makes most sense.
And John, just one other question as far as financial aid, FAFSA and CSS profile, or just
We only
FAFSA?
require the FAFSA, yeah. So only the free application for federal student aid, and you'll be automatically considered for a merit scholarship upon application, even without the FAFSA.
Wonderful. Steve, what about you guys at Lemoyne?
At Lemoyne, we have early action deadline that will be on November 15th. Apply by November 15th. You'll be notified by December 15th of your admission decision. All students that are accepted early will have until May 1st to make their enrollment decision. Our regular application deadline will be February 1st, so just a little bit behind the University of San Francisco. I guess the time zone difference makes it a couple of weeks that way. And Lemoyne offers offers tremendous opportunities with financial aid beyond the merit scholarships. Merit scholarships are decided with the application for admission and notified with the decision, admission decision. We require the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA. And Aaron, don't forget to tell us about Xavier.
Well, we need to get to Eric first. I'll
Okay.
wrap it up. We're good. We're good. Eric, what about you guys at Marquette?
Sure. Yeah. So we have one deadline, which is December 1st. We do read applications on a rolling basis. So we actually sent our first wave of admission decisions out last week, and we'll continue to do so weekly. Included in the acceptance packet is a merit award. So all students will be considered for this merit scholarship. Then we have additional scholarships and financial aid. So our FAFSA is due February 1st. Additional scholarships are due on January 15th. But yeah, just one deadline of December 1st.
And Steve, I let Eric go first because I can pretty much say ditto to everything he just said. So I figured it was less for me to say. So similarly at Xavier, we are on a rolling basis. We just started sending out our decisions. Initial scholarship is in that admission decision. We do have a priority deadline of December 1. That is a hard and fast deadline if you're applying for any of our competitive scholarships, which are usually above or beyond our initial scholarship amounts. Our honors programs, it's highly recommended to apply by December 1, as well as our direct entry nursing program. If you want nursing, December 1 is the deadline to keep in mind. Lastly, we do only require the FAFSA. We have a priority deadline on that as well for December 1st. And we start to get our decisions out on financial aid beyond the initial scholarship awards. Those financial aid packages start to roll out usually in late January. Guys, is there anything that you wanted to add? Anything that maybe you realized you forgot to say? We have just a few minutes left. So figure if there was anything else. We don't have any questions at the moment. So is there any great piece of advice or a quick fact that you wanted to make sure our audience knew about?
I think, one of the things, Aaron, is that just these unique qualities of Jesuit education that can be at a variety of different types of colleges. So I think there's great opportunities for students that are interested in smaller schools, larger schools, schools that are close to home, schools that are far away, in liberal arts areas, in pre-professional and professional areas. So it's pretty interesting, and I think really exciting to have the virtues of Jesuit education that could be found at a wide variety of different types of colleges and universities.
Most definitely. John?
Yeah, I'd love to add to the religious diversity of Jesuit institutions. So something we didn't touch on, obviously we mentioned, and Aaron gave a great history of the Jesuits as a member of the Catholic Church and a Catholic order. But something I'd encourage all of you to realize is these are not dogmatic institutions. We are not making any prescription to you about what your faith tradition should be or about what you should believe. So to be honest, when I came into Jesuit education as a non-Catholic, still a non-Catholic, I was a little nervous because I had some assumptions about what that meant. And what I found was that when I talk about Jesuit education, my favorite part of my college is not that I'm in San Francisco, it's that it's Jesuit because of the values that we all share and realizing that your faith journey is something you'll be on your entire life. And so whether you're a devout Catholic who goes to mass every week right now, or if you're questioning, or if you're another faith, our view is that that journey is something you're going to continue on throughout your life. So rather than telling you what to think, we're going to support you in that journey. But more importantly, we're going to emphasize our values of being people for others, of recognizing you as a whole person. And I think for a lot of students, that's a really refreshing environment for college. So just something to think about as well that is different, perhaps even from other Catholic institutions, other faith-based institutions in terms of the Jesuits.
Most definitely. Eric, anything that you wanted to add?
They all did a great job. I guess, yeah, I'll just add kind of on top of what John was saying. I feel like one of the best aspects of the Jesuits are their community and the focus on community. And it's such a universal message that the Jesuits have that reaches all aspects of what you do. So you won't just become a better professional at a Jesuit school, but you'll become a better human, which I think is something that really resonates with our students. and something that I see through my work.
Most definitely. Gentlemen, thank you so much for helping me out with this today. I'm glad we were able to pull this together, and I hope for our audience that you got a little bit more about the Jesuit tradition, the Jesuit educational opportunities offered to you. And again, we would love to see you on November 5th for our Jesuit evening, the last one for this fall. And we do hope that we get to see you also in person come spring. So stay safe.
Okay, so that will conclude our presentation today. Thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate having you here. After you close this window, there will be a very quick 4-question survey for you to answer, and we would greatly appreciate it if you would take the time. With that, I will remind you that at strivescan.com/Virginia, there are more sessions available for you to sign up, and the recording from this session will be available in about a week or so on that same website. Thank you very much and have a nice day, everyone.